Hey, how's it going? It's Keith Townsend from the CTOadvisor.com with my first attempt at a live stream. So this is actually really cool. We're using Google's live stream YouTube service to reflect on and talk about HPE Discover 2017, I guess, is part of the conversation. But it's not the only part of the conversation. We're talking through I think what I've learned from going to Dell EMC World and our ITX and now HPE Discover 2017, all conferences held in Las Vegas this year. The challenges associated with running a large enterprise IT organization and having whether it's Dell EMC, Cisco, or even VMware or HPE as your provider. What I guess it's really tough to make a transition from this legacy approach of ITIL and delivering IT services in a very static manner where end users come to IT, ask for servings of infrastructure, and then there's months of debate, design, etc., requirements gathering, and then there's eventually a solution. That's predominantly how IT has been delivered. That's how IT has been set up from a vendor relationship perspective. HPE, Cisco, VMware, Dell, IBM, Oracle, you go down the line, they've built huge organizations geared on selling into that organization. Now the shift has started with AWS, Google Compute, with these cloud services, Salesforce.com, that removes the barrier of consuming IT infrastructure. If I'm an IT business user, I can go directly to AWS or Google Compute, consume really complex high-end IT services that was originally geared only for really large enterprises and really large enterprises with really deep pockets. And I no longer have the bureaucracy associated or the overhead associated with deploying these services. Obviously, this has been adopted in the small, medium-sized startups that are able to disrupt large businesses. As a result, we're all running around with our hair on fire. That's why I don't have any hair, because I've been dealing with this public cloud challenge for the past couple of years. Bottom line is that smaller companies are able to move faster, disrupting larger companies and changing the business model. As a result, IT organizations are charged with becoming more agile. So we go to these big conferences, HPE Discover, Dell EMC World, and ask our traditional vendors, hey, how do you help us? On the back end, obviously, they have all of their challenges of transitioning from a revenue model built on selling boxes to a revenue model built on selling services. More difficult than that is that their customer is me. I'm typically their customer. They'll come to me and say, hey, you know what, Keith, we spend 40,000, 50,000, 100,000, $40 million a year in business with you, Keith Townsend, in relationship to the customer that you serve, whether it's my normal day job or whoever is my employer. And I'm their interface. So they're trying to gear services to me. However, I'm going to try and put up the fence of that ITIL and traditional IT organization where I take as little risk as possible to deliver the service to the end customer. And meantime, that end customer can just go to AWS, Google Compute, Salesforce.com, and consume the service directly and compete. So if you're HPE, if you're Dell EMC, if you're VMware, if you're Cisco, list goes on and on, and I can go down to Oracle, to whomever, you have the challenge of how do you deliver these new services via this in between of Keith Townsend, the infrastructure VP or the CTO, CIO, irrelevant. How do I get to the end user who actually wants to consume the service? Keith and the IT infrastructure team keeps mucking it up. I create these fabulous things such as OpenStack, HP Helium OpenStack, Dell EMC Hybrid Cloud, VMware vCloud Air. I give it to my customer in Keith Townsend, and he just doesn't. He build it, and no one comes. And continually, these internal customers are going to AWS. They're going to Google. They're going to Salesforce.com to meet their business needs. What's the solution? Well, common sense would probably tell me that HPE and all these other companies need to start selling directly to who's consuming their services. They need to compete with AWS. In order to compete with AWS, they need to talk to the same customers that AWS is talking to. The problem with that is a very challenging political problem, which is if HPE, Dell EMC, my legacy IT vendor, bypasses that initial relationship that's spending $40 million to get a $100,000 or a $1 million PO, you might, excuse my French, which isn't necessarily French, you might piss off your primary buyer in Keith Townsend and say, hey, what are you doing? Why are you going behind my back this is why I came to you, because I can't go through AWS or because I can't go through Google Compute. I want to control that relationship. So this puts the HPEs of the world between a rock and a hard space. They need to talk to the end customer, which is not enterprise IT, but the enterprise business user. But in their way is legacy IT. And it's not so simple to say I'm going to bypass legacy IT to have that time to value conversation and product specific knowledge that I need to gain directly with the end user. The same conversation that AWS is having, that conversation can't be had easily with the enterprise IT consumer. So that's pretty much the high level. That's what I got. The hybrid IT is the way of the future, but the challenge of the traditional enterprise IT vendor is how do they get out of the enterprise? How do they break that relationship that they're having with the enterprise? Do they create startups and spin-offs that don't have a relationship with traditional enterprise IT, aka you can look at VMware and Dell EMC with Pivotal Labs. Pivotal Labs can go and have a conversation with the business directly and not damage the Dell EMC or the VMware customer relationship, traditional relationship in IT. Maybe HPE needs to have a similar strategy and spin off, or Cisco needs to have a similar strategy and have this spin off of organizations that can go and have that direct conversation that won't damage that traditional IT relationship. So that's it. Let me know, guys. Let me know what you think of the live stream. This is a format that you'd like to see more of on the channel. Comment, shoot me some notes back. Follow me on Twitter at CTO Advisor. Visit the website, thectoadvisor.com. Subscribe to the podcast, The CTO Advisor, in iTunes, or you can go to the website, thectoadvisor.com/podcast. Thanks a lot.